Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing great. Pavan here, and I'm back with another episode of Gardening on Nandanavanam. Today, we shall delve into an interesting topic, one that I've been meaning to make a video for a few weeks now. Finally, I'm here. What we'll talk about today is how to fertilize your garden, or should you fertilize it? When should you fertilize it? What do you use to fertilize it? We have a lot of content to cover in this video. If you're here for the first time, welcome home. My name is Pavan and I love to garden. As I do, I make these gardening episodes to help out aspiring gardeners take advantage of my experiences. Please subscribe to the channel to learn great gardening tips, watch interesting harvest videos, and yum recipes with homegrown food. Let's get started. Not all plants need fertilizers, especially if you do effective crop rotation. This was a grade 6 science lesson that I remember. What I have pulled up on my screen is a lesson from a recent grade 6 science book that I could find. Why do I specifically remember this lesson among many others that I was taught? I have a story to share. Armed with this new acquired wisdom, I showed up at my grandparents' place back in the day and started delivering this lecture to them on how they are doing it all wrong when it comes to farming and why they should mend their ways in the paddy or rice fields to produce better yield, blah, 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 blah. I mean, God, that was a hilarious debate as I recall it. On a serious note, though, I'm so glad I've gotten into that conversation with my grandparents back in the day. That was a conversation which introduced me to fertilizers, the different kinds of them that exist, why they're essential for a plant's growth, and further, how the synthetic fertilizer variants are sucking the life out of the farm. The first thing I want to introduce you all to is the golden nutrient triangle, which is most vital for any and all plants to grow. The first is nitrogen. Nitrogen is the macronutrient which helps your plants stay green and grow tall, especially during the early days when the seedlings start to sprout. They need nitrogen to grow upwards and kickstart the vital photosynthesis process to become self sufficient for their growth. Next comes phosphorus. Phosphorus is the second nutrient that your plants need to grow strong and deep roots and to develop structurally, both of which are very important to avoid snapping stems and branches. If you have ever seen a plant grow well only to snap its stem in half, those situations can be completely avoided as your plant mature if you ensure the soil is rich in phosphorus. So you have sowed the seed, they have started sprouting, and now they've grown into a healthy large plant. What next? You're expecting that the plant is going to produce some vegetables or fruit depending on what seeds you've sowed. Is that going to happen magically? That is where phosphorus kicks in to help prevent one of the biggest problems that many gardeners face, especially in the urban setting: lack of flowering, flower fall after the initial bloom, or flower rot. If you're dealing with any of these situations in your garden, the most likely causes are overwatering your plant or lack of phosphorus in the soil. Tend to these two causes, and your plants shall produce beautiful bloom in your garden. Lastly, potassium. Potassium is a nutrient that promotes the overall well being of the plant. Have you been dreaming about a large harvest from your plants? Then do pay close attention to what I am saying now. Potassium is the magic nutrient which enhances both the size and quality of fruit and vegetable produced by the plant. When I say quality, I'm not referring to the pristine looking fruit or vegetables that you pick from the grocery aisle. As great as they look, I'm not so sure they are packed with the nutrition our bodies need. Potassium, on the other hand, helps pack nutrition into the produce. Potassium helps yield quality differently based on the crop. It makes fruits grow sweeter. It packs extra protein into the grains and it helps grow your vegetables, potatoes, carrots, peppers, eggplants, whatever that might be. It helps them grow thicker, larger, and longer. And finally, potassium also help your plant in doing one vital function. It helps your plant in consuming the water by pulling them up from the roots and maintaining the water longer, especially when the plant is facing drought like conditions. Let me pop the big question. Should you fertilize the plants? And if so, how frequently should you fertilize the plants? The good news is that all these three macronutrients are generally available in enough quantities in soil, and your plant should be able to grow well without requiring any additional fertilizer. Are you totally satisfied with that answer? If yes, you can skip the rest of this video and move along. I know there is a part of you which is like, well, not really. So, when you grow in containers, and especially when you sow the same crop in that container over and over, back to back, that deprives the soil of the required nutrients, and the plants can start to suffer from the nutrient deficiency, which in turn would lead to either lack of growth or lack of produce. Worse yet, sometimes you could also end up losing the plant. Yet again, good news is it is very simple and easy to solve these issues. First, let me share the most effortless solution which you all can easily implement. Do not sow the same crop in the same container or pot back to back. Changing what seeds you sow in the pot or container will dramatically alter the results. You're effectively eliminating the constant demand for the same nutrients, which depletes them from the pot. And that's what makes the difference. But then comes the quest that I want better results and normal is not good enough. That is where fertilizers come in. Fertilizers can be used to supplement the NPK ratio in the soil to turbocharge the produce of the plants. Which gets us to the next few questions. What fertilizer you should use, how frequently you should use it, and when should you fertilize your plants? The answers largely depend on what is your intent. Why and what are you growing in your garden? If you're growing flowers and ornamental plants for non edible purposes, you might be okay to use synthetic and chemical fertilizers in your yard. Wait a second, you won't eat those plants alright, but are those synthetic fertilizers safe for your pets, your kids, or even to the environment? I would strongly urge you all to consider using organic fertilizers over the synthetic counterparts, whether you are growing edible or ornamental plants. Why use organic fertilizer? Let's learn about benefits of using them. One, the most important benefit, in my opinion, is not to the plants. It's the peace of mind that the fertilizer will not poison my food chain. Me, my kids, pets, the birds, worms, bees which pollinate my plants, the environment at large could all stay natural as they are meant to be. That is the most important benefit. Second, due to the excitement or ignorance, if you end up using too little or too much of organic fertilizer, it does not hurt your plants. Unlike the synthetic fertilizers, which could end up burning the roots of your plants when you use them in excess quantities. Third, organic fertilizers are slow release fertilizers, which mean they last the full growing season and slowly release the essential nutrients that your plants need as they grow. Fourth, the comfort of do it yourself. You could make most of these organic fertilizers at home and in quantities that are required mostly with ingredients from your kitchen. If you do not want to make them at home, they are also available in most of the garden stores for you to pick. 5. Lastly, the organic fertilizers fulfill a personal goal of mine to reduce and eliminate my household's contribution to the landfills in the world. Let me summarize it this way. Organic fertilizers will definitely help improve the quality of your food. But most importantly, they do not harm or poison your food chain. So please use organic fertilizers in your garden if you're trying to grow healthy food. Congratulations if you have decided to use organic fertilizers. You have taken the right decision. As my grandfather says, the core responsibility of a farmer, in our case a gardener, is to protect Mother Earth with all it takes. Always leave the farm, the garden bed, the soil in a better state than when you found her. Be responsible with fertilizing. For ideal results, use the right combination of organic fertilizers. If you're growing leafy vegetables or greens, 3-1-1 is the ideal NPK ratio. If you're growing fruits, 1-1-1 is the ideal NPK ratio. And if you're growing vegetables, 1 to 2 is the ideal NPK ratio. OMG, these are too many combinations and numbers to remember and maintain, right? Do not fret. 3 to 1 is the balanced ratio which works for most plants, and you can use that as a general purpose fertilizer in your garden. Containers or garden beds, whatever you are using to grow, I recommend to start your season by amending soil with a 3 to 1 NPK mix. Use half topsoil and half organic compost, and then supplement with additional fertilizers for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and the micronutrients like magnesium, manganese, and calcium, etc. Once you start the season with soil amendment, you should be all set for this crop or for the next few crops depending on what crops and seeds you sow. After the initial soil amendment, what I do in my garden is to fertilize as needed based on the type of crops and its growth stage. For the folks in the US with shorter growing season, I recommend you to amend soil twice a year, once in spring and once in fall. And for the folks in the US or around the world with longer growing season, amend the soil with organic fertilizers thrice a year. You all stay tuned, and in one of my future episodes, I will share a step by step process to make organic fertilizers at home with commonly available items in your kitchen pantry. Hope today's video was informative and helpful. If you do like this video, please smash the thumbs up button and help me reach a larger audience. Also, do let me know what other topics you would like me to cover in future episodes. Happy gardening. This is Pawan signing off until the next video. Thanks you all for joining with me today.